The NBA Summer League isn't just about prospects, it's about proving ground. It's about redemption. It's about those desperate to make their name echo in arenas around the world. And on July 20th, that fire reaches a boiling point. Atlanta versus Boston. A clash of raw scorers and unpolished potential. Memphis versus LA. One of the grittiest matchups of the summer. And that's just the beginning. Every possession is a resume. Every dunk is a job application. And every defensive stop, a chance to survive. So if you think Summer League is just a preseason sideshow, think again. This is where futures are forged. And tonight, it gets personal. Game 1 Hawks vs Celtics. The anticipation for this matchup between the Atlanta Hawks and Boston Celtics in the NBA Summer League is intense. It's not just a contest of young, emerging talents, it's a showcase of future rotation players, hidden gems, and perhaps even the next breakout star who could crack the main roster once October rolls around. The Celtics and Hawks have had different approaches in recent years to their Summer League strategies. While Boston emphasizes structured development with their G League pipeline and defensive-minded coaching staff, Atlanta leans into creativity, giving younger guards and wings the green light to explore their offensive ceiling. But as these two teams collide in Las Vegas, it's more than just about future value. It's a clash of execution, rhythm, defensive IQ, and composure under the bright lights of the desert. Coming into this game, the Boston Celtics have been one of the most structurally sound squads in this summer league. Their rotations are crisp, their off-ball movement is disciplined, and their transition defense, something often overlooked in summer play, has been consistent. Jordan Walsh has been the headline name for Boston, not only because of his athletic tools but because of his attention to detail on both ends. Offensively, Walsh is learning to control tempo, not just scoring but facilitating from the wing. His footwork on backdoor cuts and his aggressiveness in the passing lanes make him a two-way threat. And this is the exact kind of wing profile that Boston values: switchable, unselfish, and always looking to exploit space. Meanwhile, J.D. Davison continues to push the pace for Boston, showing signs of improved shot selection and decision-making. In his previous Summer League games, Davison's assist-to-turnover ratio has dramatically improved compared to last season. That improvement reflects both maturity and a better understanding of tempo management. While his first instinct is still to push in transition, he's shown a better feel for recognizing when to slow things down and initiate half-court sets. The Celtics' offense often flows through his high pick-and-roll setups with second-unit bigs, where he's become more adept at using his dribble to manipulate defenders and create driving lanes. If Davison can maintain his current level of production, especially with his jumper looking more fluid, he could become one of the top playmakers of this year's Summer League slate. On the other side, the Atlanta Hawks are bringing a more explosive, high-variance game plan. Their roster is flush with athletes, players who can run the floor, attack in isolation, and crash the glass hard. One of their most exciting prospects is guard Tyson Etienne, a microwave scorer with a flair for hitting tough shots. Etienne thrives in rhythm-based scenarios. If he hits one early, his confidence skyrockets and he becomes a difficult player to contain. What makes Etienne particularly dangerous is his ability to pull up from deep off the bounce, a rare skill in Summer League where many players rely heavily on catch-and-shoot opportunities. But it's not just Etienne. The Hawks have been impressed by the progress of Kobe Buffkin, the former Michigan standout who was drafted with the intention of becoming a long-term backcourt complement to Trae Young. Buffkin's performance in Vegas is a key measuring stick for his readiness to handle backup minutes during the regular season. So far, he's looked poised, aggressive defensively, and more confident as a secondary ball handler. His ability to create space using crafty footwork and handle under pressure is something the Hawks will lean on heavily in this matchup. Where this game gets interesting is on the boards. Atlanta's frontcourt features several athletic bigs like Mohamed Gay and Chris Silva, who bring raw power and elite verticality. Boston's bigs are more methodical and positionally sound, with a preference for boxing out rather than chasing rebounds. Gay's ability to change shots at the rim, combined with his willingness to run the floor, gives the Hawks a clear advantage in second-chance opportunities, especially if Boston's perimeter defenders overhelp or get beat off the dribble. The Celtics will need to rely on their team defense to keep Gay off the glass and deny deep post entries. Another major factor in this contest is going to be three-point efficiency. Boston has been shooting the ball well from beyond the arc, with spacing provided by shooters like Jay Scrubb and Sam Hauser when he gets minutes. Their floor spacing philosophy hinges on quick passes and corner threes, particularly off drive and kick sequences led by Davison or Walsh. Atlanta, however, has more streaky shooters, with Etienne, Bufkin, and A.J. Lawson providing hot and cold scoring from the perimeter. If the Hawks get hot early from deep, Boston's structured defense may get stretched too far, especially if they collapse too hard on driving lanes. Coaching philosophy will also matter here. Boston's summer league staff, often working in conjunction with the main coaching team, emphasizes execution and accountability. They run real sets, especially horns action and elevator plays for wing shooters. The Celtics use summer league not just as a platform for highlight reels, but as a training ground for in-season systems. That approach allows their players to stand out not just individually but within a system. The Hawks, by contrast, allow more freelancing. Their offense is more motion-oriented with less play-calling and more improvisation, which allows players to show their raw talent but can backfire when defenses tighten up. One X factor in this matchup could be Boston's bench guard Delano Banton. His length, defensive activity, and underrated passing make him a Swiss Army knife off the bench. He's not always consistent with his jumper, but his ability to get downhill and draw fouls could create valuable free throw opportunities in a close contest. On the other side, Atlanta's Chris Silva provides toughness and physicality. He sets hard screens, plays through contact, and gives his team an edge when it comes to hustle stats. Intangibles can't be overlooked either. Boston's group has played with a surprising level of chemistry. Despite being a summer roster filled with fringe players and rookies, there's real communication on the floor. Their help defense is timed well, and players rotate with purpose. Atlanta, meanwhile, has the flashier athletes, but at times they've struggled with turnovers and defensive lapses, especially during second quarters when their intensity wanes. If the Hawks want to win this game, they'll need to keep their defensive energy consistent for the full 40 minutes. Another dimension worth analyzing is the usage patterns. Boston's coaching staff has managed minutes carefully, ensuring their starters get meaningful reps while developing. Bench depth. That balance will be crucial, especially if this game goes down to the wire. Atlanta tends to ride the hot hand, which can be effective but risky. If someone like Etienne or Bufkin starts slow, the Hawks can find themselves in a scoring drought unless someone else unexpectedly steps up. In terms of physical matchups, the battle between Jordan Walsh and Kobe Bufkin will be one of the most intriguing. Walsh's wingspan, timing, and lateral movement make him a nightmare on the defensive end. He rarely bites on fakes, keeps his chest in front, and recovers quickly even when beaten. Bufkin, on the other hand, thrives on deception, ball screens, and hesitation moves to create space. If these two find themselves guarding each other, it could become a chess match of reads, counters, and next-level instincts. From a betting perspective, this game has tight margins. Oddsmakers opened this with the Celtics as slight favorites -1.5, likely due to their more structured offense and consistent defense. The over-under has hovered around 177.5 total points, suggesting a pace that balances transition opportunities with half-court execution. If Boston can keep the game in the 80s or low 90s, they'll have a clear advantage. But if Atlanta turns it into a track meet, pushing tempo off misses and leaking out early, they could swing the momentum fast. Looking at the projected scoreline, Boston's ability to control tempo and make fewer mistakes gives them the edge on paper. But games aren't played on spreadsheets, they're played through grit, hustle, and making the right plays when it counts. This game could come down to the final 2 minutes, where Boston's composure and floor spacing may ultimately carry them. This matchup isn't just a footnote in the Summer League's schedule, it's a clash of two future-facing franchises developing unique identities. Boston's methodical development versus Atlanta's high-energy experimentation. It's execution versus freedom. Fundamentals versus flair. In a game like this, every possession will matter. The second half of this breakdown pivots from statistical and narrative foundations into the fire of tactical adjustments, personnel decisions, scheme counterbalances, and betting intel that could swing this summer league clash between the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics. With both teams fielding rosters filled with rookies, G-League grinders, and fringe NBA hopefuls, what separates a summer league win from a demoralizing blowout is often a mixture of composure, in-game adjustments, and who can impose their style early and keep it humming under Vegas pressure. Let's start with the one question that's central to any legitimate summer league analysis: which team can execute through chaos? Summer league basketball is built on raw energy, rapid development arcs, and highly volatile decision-making. It's not the polished half-court symphony of a mid-May playoff game, it's a crash course in tempo control, and whoever can harness that wins. The Celtics, from a franchise philosophy standpoint, emphasize spacing, unselfish ball movement, and switch-heavy defense. Their summer league staff tends to mirror that ethos. From 2023 to 2025, Boston's developmental focus has leaned heavily into defensive versatility, perimeter creation from wings, and high pick-and-roll frequency. And that shows again this summer with Jordan Walsh at the helm. Walsh, Boston's 2023 second-round pick, has blossomed into a legitimate two-way force. His ball handling and passing, along the two knocks on his game, have shown signs of growth. Against switchy defenses, he's started to manipulate angles better, using his wingspan to create separation. But where he truly shines is on the other side of the court. In Boston's recent games, Walsh has taken on the challenge of guarding opposing number one options, and he's excelled. He uses his length to funnel drivers in to help defenders and is strong enough to avoid being dislodged on post-ups. Against the Hawks, he'll likely see minutes on both guard Keontae Johnson and wing MJ Walker, two of Atlanta's high-usage initiators. Johnson's strength lies in bulldozing his way to the rim, but Walsh is uniquely suited to neutralize that physicality. If Boston's coaches commit to that matchup and avoid unnecessary switching, they can eliminate a primary scoring option for Atlanta. Now, consider Boston's offense. While they haven't had a traditional point guard dominate the headlines, their offensive engine runs through motion, flare screens, and high pick and rolls. J.D. Davison, still raw as a floor general, provides elite speed and vertical pressure. But his decision-making in traffic has improved noticeably. In Boston's win over the Grizzlies, he racked up 8 assists, many of them generated by collapsing the defense and kicking to corner shooters like Brandon Slater and Drew Peterson. Against Atlanta, a team that plays aggressive perimeter defense but lacks strong rim protection, Davison's dribble penetration could crack open the defense early. Atlanta's interior defense has struggled all summer league. Bigs like Mo Gay and Chaundi Brown have been slow to rotate and often get caught in no man's land on drop coverage. If Boston keeps the ball moving and maintains aggressive downhill pressure, they could get into the bonus early and manufacture points from the line, a key factor in low-scoring summer league affairs. Defensively, Atlanta's strategy hinges on athleticism. Their guards are long, springy, and quick to double the post, but they're prone to gambling. That's where Boston can take control, by staying disciplined. Jordan Walsh, while not yet a high-level scorer, can be devastating when left alone in space. If Atlanta's wings overhelp or misread weak side rotations, look for Boston to punish them with well-timed cuts and spot-up threes. That's where someone like Drew Peterson becomes critical. His off-ball movement and timely relocation into the corners could carve up Atlanta's backline. One wild card in this game is Jabari Parker's brother, Christian Parker, who has quietly emerged as a valuable bench scorer for the Celtics. A strong, left-handed slasher with decent mid-range touch, Parker gives the Celtics a scoring release valve when their primary actions break down. In a game where bench production often swings momentum, his minutes could prove decisive. Switching over to the Hawks, there's a different formula at play. This is a team built around individual shot creation and transition scoring. The Hawks thrive in games that devolve into chaos. Their summer league unit doesn't execute half-court sets as precisely as Boston's, but what they do offer is explosiveness and shot-making. Keontae Johnson, despite Walsh's defense, is a freight train in transition. His downhill drives collapse defenses quickly. What will matter is whether Atlanta can create enough live ball turnovers to get out and run. If Boston limits their turnovers to under 12, Atlanta's biggest weapon is neutralized. Another Atlanta name to circle is Mouhamed Gueye, a versatile big with flashes of perimeter skill. He's shown glimpses of being able to pop out for threes while also protecting the rim at a moderate level. The Celtics' interior rotation of Reggie Kisunlal and Luka Samanik, if active, has been solid, but Gueye's ability to space the floor might stretch Boston's defense in ways it hasn't been tested yet. If Gueye hits a couple early jumpers, that could force Boston to abandon drop coverage and hedge higher, opening up the short roll for guards like M.J. Walker to exploit. Let's move into a tactical mini-battle that could define this matchup. Bench scoring versus bench defense. Boston has the more structured second unit, players who know how to defend their assignments, box out, and make the extra pass. Atlanta, on the other hand, has an unpredictable bench that plays with reckless abandon. In previous games, the Hawks' reserves have swung games both positively and negatively. In a tight contest, it might be Boston's steady hand that wins the margin minutes. Now we shift into the betting and prop analysis. The line on this game opened with Boston as slight favorites at -1.5, with a total set at 172.5. That total suggests the market is expecting a relatively high-scoring affair for Summer League, where average totals hover around 167. The market's lean likely comes from Atlanta's offensive pace. They push tempo off both makes and misses, and when they catch fire, they can drop 90-plus points. But if Boston's defense slows the game down early, and the refs call a tight whistle, that total could undershoot by a significant margin. The best value bet might actually be Boston -1.5, especially if Jordan Walsh and J.D. Davison remain healthy and in rhythm. Their ability to create controlled half-court offense gives them the upper hand in terms of reliability. But the sharp play might be the under 172.5, assuming Boston succeeds in slowing down transition opportunities. For player props, if sportsbooks offer Jordan Walsh points plus rebounds plus assists PRA lines around 22.5, the over is worth a look. He's been stuffing the stat sheet with 10 to 15 points, 6 to 8 boards, and 3 to 5 assists per contest. On the Hawks side, look at Keontae Johnson's points over if the line sits around 13.5. Even with Walsh defending, he'll get enough usage to threaten that number. Let's wrap with final predictions. Final score prediction: Boston Celtics 87, Atlanta Hawks 79. Boston's structure, defensive communication, and ball movement should carry them through the volatility of this summer league clash. Walsh leads with 18 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Davison adds 14 and 7 assists, while Drew Peterson chips in 3 timely threes. Keontae Johnson scores 16 for the Hawks, but with minimal support and poor bench shot selection, Atlanta's offense sputters in the second half. More than anything, this matchup is a referendum on development pipelines, Boston's commitment to fundamental growth versus Atlanta's raw athletic ceiling. On July 20th, in the bright lights of Vegas, expect the steadier hand to prevail. If you're betting, lean Boston spread and the under. If you're scouting talent, circle Jordan Walsh. If you're here for the drama, buckle up, this one should deliver. Game 2 Grizzlies vs Clippers. There are summer games, and then there are statements. The Memphis Grizzlies and the Los Angeles Clippers are about to write one on the desert hardwoods of Las Vegas. This isn't just another developmental clash. This is a philosophical battle between two of the NBA's most divergent rebuilding approaches: raw grit versus calculated upside, physical chaos versus poised execution. For two franchises that rarely make headlines in July, this Summer League showdown on July 20th carries real developmental weight, and potentially long-term rotational implications. The Memphis Grizzlies, known for cultivating a scrappy, defiant culture under Zach Kleiman's front office, come into this matchup with a roster that might not flash superstar potential at first glance, but oozes experience, toughness, and a nose for defensive disruption. On the other side, the Clippers, often seen as a veteran-heavy team at the NBA level, have quietly assembled a fascinating group of young talent headlined by raw wings and upside guards looking to force their way into the conversation for 2024-25 minutes. It's this clash, one team focused on immediate rotational polish, the other on athletic high-risk upside, that makes this matchup one of the most underrated games of the entire Summer League slate. So let's break it down, tactically, statistically, and strategically. Because this isn't just Grizzlies versus Clippers. This is a test of development pipelines, organizational priorities, and competitive identity. Team profile: Memphis Grizzlies, Summer League identity check. The Grizzlies' Summer League roster is, in classic Memphis fashion, built like a blunt instrument. They're not trying to out-pretty you. They're trying to overwhelm you. Through the first stretch of Summer League games, the Grizzlies have been one of the more physical units, with an aggressive frontcourt rotation anchored by Jake LaRavia, G.G. Jackson, and Kenneth Lofton Jr., all of whom have either seen real NBA minutes or dominated G League action. LaRavia, in particular, is the centerpiece here. After a rollercoaster sophomore year in the NBA, this Summer League is a proving ground for the 6 feet 8 inches forward who the Grizzlies invested a mid-first-round pick in. His development as a 3-level scorer and help-side defender has been inconsistent, but you're beginning to see the outlines of a versatile combo forward with real switchability and a decent shooting stroke. In the last game, LaRavia posted 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 steals, and while his outside shooting hasn't been elite, his ability to attack closeouts and disrupt passing lanes has been central to Memphis' identity in Vegas. G.G. Jackson is the X factor. At just 19 years old, Jackson plays like a 26-year-old trying to win a contract. The motor is relentless. He leads the team in usage, averaging 21 points per game in Vegas with an uncanny mix of off-the-dribble creation and confident shot-taking from deep. But his decision-making still fluctuates, prone to tunnel vision, quick trigger threes, and defensive lapses. Against a long Clippers wing unit, Jackson's ability to stay within the offense rather than hijack it could be the deciding factor. And then there's Kenneth Lofton Jr., the cult hero, the G League bulldozer, the undersized center who has made a career out of brute force post work and oddly soft touch. At 6 feet 6 inches and nearly 280 pounds, Lofton has carved out a role as a low-post fulcrum with sneaky good vision. The Clippers don't have a clear physical counter to Lofton, especially with his ability to draw fouls and collapse defenses. But the question remains, can Memphis use his presence without compromising defensive spacing or transition mobility? The Grizzlies' guard play is more functional than flashy. David Johnson, the former Louisville product, has taken the reins as a floor general, though his turnover issues and streaky jumper have left some questions. Scottie Pippen Jr., a recent addition, brings more creation but less control. For Memphis to truly dictate tempo, they'll need one of these guards to seize the game in the half-court. Defensively, Memphis is a switch-heavy, handsy unit that lives in the passing lanes. Their defensive rating is among the top 5 in Vegas play, driven by aggressive help, backline rim contests, and a no-middle philosophy that forces opponents into low-percentage looks. This could be crucial against the Clippers, whose wing-heavy roster often thrives on drive and kick rhythm. Team profile: Los Angeles Clippers, a new generation of length. The Clippers' Summer League team is almost unrecognizable when compared to their star-laden NBA roster. No Kawhi, no PG, no Harden, but what you do get is a fascinating glimpse into the next generation of Clippers basketball, one defined by long, positionless wings, high-upside guards, and a commitment to defensive versatility. Brandon Boston Jr. is the engine. After 2 up-and-down years at the NBA level, this summer league has been a reminder of why Boston was once a projected lottery pick. He's averaging 22 points per game with silky jumpers, high-release floaters, and a newfound willingness to attack the paint. The key for Boston has always been consistency, and in Vegas, he's strung together 3 straight games with 20-plus points on efficient shooting. Against Memphis' bruising front line, Boston's finesse could be the perfect counter. Kobe Brown, the Clippers' first-round pick last year out of Missouri, is the wildcard. At 6 feet 7 inches, 250 pounds, and capable of playing the 3-5, Brown brings rare size speed switchability. His shooting, once considered a red flag, has quietly developed, and he's now a reliable pick-and-pop threat from the top of the arc. The Clippers have used him as a short-roll playmaker and dribble handoff hub, which could stress Memphis' backline communication. If Brown can control the glass and bait Memphis bigs into foul trouble, this game could tilt in the Clippers' favor. Then there's Xavier Moon, the seasoned, undersized vet who continues to make things happen. Moon doesn't wow you with physical traits, but he's a steady hand, shoots well from deep, and rarely makes mental mistakes. His ability to punish overhelp and initiate late-clock offense will be crucial in managing Memphis pressure. The real intrigue lies in the Clippers' depth. Rookies like Cam Christie, younger brother of Max Christie, Jordan Miller, and Moussa Diabaté all bring varying degrees of energy and versatility. Diabaté, in particular, could be a defensive ace against Lofton with his length and verticality. But the question is whether the Clippers can rebound well enough to survive the physicality. Through summer league play, they've struggled to control the defensive glass, and Memphis is a top-3 offensive rebounding team. Statistical matchup breakdown. Here's how the two teams compare heading into this clash. Category: Grizzlies Clippers. PPG Team 92.489.1. Opponent PPG 84.791.3. Offensive rating 107.8 101.4. Defensive rating 97.1 105.6. Rebounds per game 46.3 40.2. Turnovers per game 13.6 12.2. 3 PT percent 31.9% 33.1%. FG percent 44.5% 45.2%. The biggest advantage for Memphis lies on the boards, especially second chance points. Their ability to rebound offensively and extend possessions has been the lifeline of their offense. Conversely, the Clippers shoot better and protect the ball slightly better, which suggests a pace control game plan will be crucial. Coaching philosophies and adjustments. Memphis' Summer League coaching staff has emphasized physicality and transition defense. They frequently blitz pick and rolls, rotate aggressively on the perimeter, and trust their wings to make decisions in the open court. Expect early full-court pressure to disrupt the Clippers' flow. The Clippers, meanwhile, have leaned into switching everything 1 through 4, occasionally even 1 through 5 when Diabaté is at the 5. Their offense flows through high stagger actions and empty corner isolations for Boston and Brown. Expect them to attack Memphis drop coverage in the midrange, especially when Lofton is involved in pick actions. What are the exploitable pressure points? Who's on the rise at just the right time? Which team has the psychological and statistical edge in late-game scenarios? And most importantly, how should sharp bettors and basketball purists think about this game? Let's break it down. Advanced Player Development Arcs, the Summer Surge. There's a defining arc to the NBA Summer League. It's less about who starts the hottest, and more about who evolves fastest. Memphis and LA present two contrasting blueprints. For the Grizzlies, the arc of G.G. Jackson II is central. In Game 1, Jackson's athletic gift showed up in a flurry, transition rim runs, weak-side rejections, and one-on-one blow-bys. But where his arc must evolve now is in defensive discipline and shot selection. He's too good to settle for bailout 3s and early clock heaves. When Jackson embraces that high-low game, slashing between the elbows and trusting kick-out reads, the Memphis offense becomes multipronged and lethal. In scrimmage minutes, he's flashing that versatility more consistently, initiating dribble handoffs, swinging through contact, and resetting for mismatches. This bodes well for Game 2. Then there's Tarik Bajbrković, the Bosnian shooter whose efficiency splits over 55% EFG in the first two Summer League games have shocked scouts. He's being used more like a floor-spacing two-guard than a small forward. The synergy with Jalen Noel, particularly off-curl actions, forces defenses to overhelp, opening short roll lobs for Kenneth Lofton Jr. On the Clippers' side, all eyes remain glued to Cam Christie. Despite coming in with slightly less media buzz than brother Max, Cam's fundamentals are exceeding expectations. His footwork off the bounce is NBA-ready, and he's shooting over 43% from deep on-movement threes, an elite number in Summer League pace. But his hidden value is on defense. In Game 1, Christie generated 3 deflections, 2 steals, and contested 8 jumpers without a foul. That positional awareness is rare in this setting. Then there's Mouhamed Gueye, whose length and motor have altered the Clippers' defensive ceiling. Gueye's rim protection has taken a leap, but what's stunning is his lateral mobility, switching onto guards and containing drives. That allows the Clippers to hedge aggressively without giving up the middle. If he can stay out of foul trouble and hit even 50% of his free throws, he becomes a swing factor in this matchup. Coaching tactics and playbook philosophy. One element often underappreciated in Summer League matchups is coaching philosophy. Because most Summer League rosters are thrown together quickly and function with interim staff, the offensive and defensive systems tend to be rudimentary. But both of these teams are outliers. Memphis has leaned heavily on spread pick-and-roll concepts, emulating Taylor Jenkins' main roster schemes. Their 5-out spacing, with shooters like Bajbrković and Vince Williams Jr. stationed beyond the break, opens up wide gaps for ball handlers like Noel and Jacob Gilyard to drive and dish. The key wrinkle has been the use of ghost screens, where a screener fakes a screen and pops to space. This confuses defenders accustomed to switching, and Memphis has consistently exploited it with three-point looks. The Clippers, meanwhile, are experimenting with motion-heavy half-court sets. A blend of triangle actions and Chicago pin-downs dominate their offensive DNA. The goal isn't to isolate, but to manipulate weak-side help. They're frequently swinging the ball through Elijah Martin and letting him probe until a mismatch appears. This philosophy paid off in their win over Charlotte, where they notched 28 assists and only 9 turnovers. Defensively, the Grizzlies are trying a unique twist, zone switch hybrids. Against wing-heavy offenses, they'll start in a 2-3 zone look but morph into a man-to-man once the ball hits the corner. This daunts rookie ball handlers unfamiliar with making cross-court reads. The Clippers have an answer for this: lifted corner rotations with a trail shooter curling around the top. Whoever wins this tactical duel could decide the game. Pace, possessions and game flow forecasting, the most predictive metric in Summer League games. Possessions per game. Memphis is operating at 101 possessions per 40 minutes, 8th fastest in Las Vegas. The Clippers, by contrast, rank 19th at just 93 possessions per 40. That's a massive discrepancy. But here's the key: when the Clippers control pace, they win. When they're forced into transition defense off misses or turnovers, they crumble. This means the Grizzlies will try to run early and often. After makes, they inbound quickly, push with Gilliard, and force mismatches in semi-transition. The key here will be shot selection, jack up ill-advised triples, and the Clippers' methodical half-court dominance takes over. But if Memphis can score early in the clock, they can break this game open. Watch for Memphis to set early drag screens, force Gay into decision-making roles, and attack second-side help. If those actions lead to corner threes, the Clippers will be chasing shadows. Injury watch and player availability. There are no reported major injuries heading into Game 2, but two minor storylines bear watching. 1. Kenneth Lofton Jr. reportedly tweaked his ankle in practice. Though not serious, his mobility may be slightly compromised, which could limit his high post touches and rim contests. 2. Jason Preston, the Clippers' backup point guard and late-game shot creator, is listed as day-to-day with hamstring tightness. If unavailable, the offensive burden falls more heavily on Christie and Elijah Martin. Both injuries shift the depth calculus, especially late in close games. Betting breakdown, odds, totals and edges. Let's get to the numbers. Opening line, Grizzlies minus 2.5. Over/under, 175.5. First half spread, Grizzlies minus 1.5. Grizzlies moneyline, minus 145. Clippers moneyline, plus 120. Sharp action report. Early money has been pouring in on the Grizzlies, moving the line from -1 to -2.5. But this might be a case of overcorrection. The Clippers' methodical style and improved spacing may neutralize Memphis' transition game more than the market expects. Best bet. Take Clippers plus 2.5 or even moneyline plus 120. If Preston plays, consider live betting the Clippers if they trail early. This is a second-half team. Prop angles. G.G. Jackson, over 17.5 points. Cam Christie, over 2.53s made. Total points. Lean under 175.5 if the Clippers slow tempo. Alternate total. Clippers team total over 87.5. Final prediction. Who wins and why? This one's a clash of styles, tempo versus technique. Memphis will look to impose their speed and physicality early, building a lead with chaos and athleticism. But the Clippers are a patient, structure-first squad that thrives in the second and third quarters. Ultimately, the difference comes down to backcourt control. If Jacob Gilliard can break traps and feed Memphis shooters in rhythm, they win. If not, and if Christie continues his sharpshooting clinic, LA pulls the upset. Final score prediction. Clippers 88, Grizzlies 84. MVP, Cam Christie 21 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 triples. If you love deep breakdowns, stat-driven predictions, and film room-level analysis, then Beyond the Box Score is the place to be. Smash that like button if you're riding with your favorite team tonight, subscribe if you want real basketball talk, and drop your score predictions in the comments, because we're going all in, game by game, possession by possession. Let's break it down. Let's go beyond the box score.